Hello, Deborah McIntyre here. I am a naturopath and health coach for 43 years. I have a private practice in Roswell, Georgia, a clinic that focuses on naturopathic care. And my mission here in these video streams is to educate you about some of the naturopathic principles that are so darn easy to apply in your life and so simple, but they make a huge difference in your health. And being a naturopath, do not construe this as medical advice, but as I always say, definitely take it as good advice. And hey, Chelsea, I'm glad you could be here today. I'm going to share this out. So what I'm going to talk about today is your indoor air quality and some of the toxins that hide in your air. And there's so many simple things that you can do to eliminate these in the home, and I definitely want to help you to understand how to do that. Okay, thanks for the love. So first of all, I want to tell you why we have this problem. So of course we have energy efficient homes now, and we do not have the air exchange in our homes that we used to have. But additionally, we just have a lot more chemicals that we use on a regular basis. You know, back in the day, your great-grandmother used things like vinegar and baking soda and things like that to clean with. Oh, hey, Carolina, glad you could be here. So we're talking about these chemicals that lurk in your indoor air. They throw off your hormones. They make you gain weight, which is very interesting. They contribute to asthma, allergies, chronic respiratory infections. Hey, Darlene. Hey, Angela. Glad you guys could be here today. So anyway, even cancer, like many cancers have been linked to these common chemicals in the home. So I want to help you to understand what to do about it. Where do they come from? How do you wipe them out? All right, so here we go. First of all, a couple of statistics. So the EPA has determined that indoor air quality or indoor air contains between 2 and 5 times as many contaminants as outdoor air. And in some areas tested, that can even go up to 100 times more contaminants than outside air. Hey, Janice, glad you could be here today. So to put this in a little more perspective, there was a study done back in 2009. Now, I think we do use more chemicals now than we did then. But back in 2009, they looked at 52 homes in the US, and the average, let me get this number right, the average was 586 different toxic chemicals in the indoor air in these 52 homes. That's crazy. That's lots and lots of toxicity. And interestingly, out of those nearly 600 toxic chemicals, 120 of them, they couldn't even identify what they were. And what's interesting in research that's coming out now is that, yes, individual chemicals will have an effect on your body, and we can study that and know what it is. But when you mix 2 or more of these chemicals together, we just don't even know what happens. You know, some studies are showing, like, for example, I'm going to get off on a tangent of weed killers, right? The active toxin in weed killers is called glyphosate. And so now we know that it's not just glyphosate, but some of the other chemicals in these weed killers that contribute to the health problems that we're seeing. So Claudia, glad you could be here. Beverly, hey. So let's talk about where they come from and then what we can do, because I definitely want to give you super easy ways. It's so interesting, guys, that simple little things that you do every day either work to bring you up over time or work to drag you down over time. So it doesn't have to be difficult. All right, so here are the sources. Number 1, new carpet, paint, and new furniture. These contain chemicals called volatile organic compounds. You probably heard of VOCs. They contain formaldehyde. There's glue involved in many cases, and flame retardant chemicals. And when you put new carpet in your home or buy a new piece of furniture, it can take 1 year up to 5 years before it stops, off gassing these different chemicals into your environment. So of course it dissipates over the time. The first few days and weeks is the worst. So if you can open your windows and, put some fans on and so forth to air it out, that's going to definitely help. But don't think that it's over when you can't smell the obnoxious odor anymore. That stuff continues to outgas for a really long time. And so then the second source, I'm going to tell you what to do about it other than open your windows in just a moment. The second source is nonstick cookware. And this is kind of, you may not even think about that, but Teflon and other nonstick surfaces that are on cookware, particularly if it was made before 2015, contain chemicals that have been linked to, let me list you these cancers. So several cancers, prostate cancer, thyroid cancer, ovarian cancer, kidney cancer, and bladder cancer. Direct links. Bad enough that the EPA actually, gave Dow Corning only until 2015 to get that one particular chemical out. It's not, usually the way this goes, you see a chemical like BPA, for example, that everybody sees BPA free on everything. But the thing is, they're just going to substitute a different chemical. And how many years is it going to take, before we have enough use of this thing to discover, oops, this is causing health problems in people. So it's best to just ditch the non-stick. You can definitely use stainless steel. You can use Pyrex as long as it's not colored. The brown and the green Pyrex can have lead that leaches into your food. But just use a safer cookware and ditch it. Back in my day when I was like newly on my own and Teflon was like the greatest thing. Remember, guys, it used to flake off in these big strips. You'd look at your pan and, as you stirred your eggs or whatever, just big flakes of that stuff came off right into your food. So certainly a lot of us have ingested a lot of that stuff over time. And that's where detoxification comes in and cleaning yourself up. Hey, Kathy, glad you could be here today. So we talked about new carpet, paint, new furniture. We talked about nonstick cookware. The next source of these chemicals I want to talk about is your household cleaners. Now, this includes things like, Windex or whatever glass cleaner you use, your antibacterial cleaners that you use in the bathroom and in the kitchen, floor polish, and then laundry detergents, fabric softeners, things like this. They have tons of chemicals. And in fact, just in your laundry room, just your laundry products can have 600 different volatile organic compounds. So yeah, what do we do about that? The big thing is you want to switch to healthier brands. And I'm going to put in the comments, there's a website I've given out many, many times for Environmental Working Group. They maintain a huge database of personal care products, cleaning products that you can, browse through, and they rate them A to D on their toxic chemicals. So it's a good way to be able to identify what's there. Now, there's another website I want to share with you guys, because some of us will not take the time to make our own, but some of us really enjoy that stuff. So this is a super cool website I'm going to post in the comments, where you can get recipes to make anything from laundry detergent to cleaning products, toilet bowl cleaners, anything you would use in your home to clean with. And there's some really cool recipes, which again, take you back to like your grandma used to do, or your great grandma used to do, and just clean with the natural products. To name a few, there's a few of them that are just really, really good. White vinegar, Castile soap, you've seen Dr. Bronner's and other kinds of Castile soap, essential oils, lemon juice, white vinegar, I think I already mentioned. So anyway, that website I just shared will give you lots of different recipes you can use for your household cleaners if you are so moved to make and do for yourself. Okay, the next place you're going to find these toxic chemicals that make you gain weight, make your hormones unbalanced, can lead to cancer, can lead to respiratory problems, asthma, give you more chronic infections. The next source is gas stoves. Now, I love a gas stove. You know, cooking with gas is really great. But when you turn it on, I mean, first of all, the gas itself is toxic. But then second of all, as you burn the gas, there are toxic byproducts. So what you want to do is just turn on the vent hood. And if you don't have a vent hood, crack a little window in your kitchen. It's so simple just to get this stuff out. Just know when you're releasing it. You don't have to cash in your gas stove and buy an electric one if you love cooking with gas. That's totally fine. Just vent the stuff. Let yourself get as much of it out of there as you can. The less you expose yourself to, the better. Any little whiff of a chemical is something you've taken into your body. So Beverly says, I use white vinegar and baking soda to clean my sink drains. Yes, I've heard of that. And I've heard it works really good. Think how toxic like a liquid plumber or something is. Think what that does as it goes on down the line, through to our water supply and so forth. So that's awesome. I love that tip. That's really, really good. Now, the next category I want to bring up, I've talked about before, and that is candles and air fresheners. I love burning candles in my home. It really is cool as a mood setting, and it just makes you feel homey. You just have to be sure that you buy candles made ideally of beeswax. You can use soy candles, but a lot of the soy is genetically modified, so you might end up with some chemicals from that aspect. And then a lot of candles are made with essential oils for a scent instead of the artificial scents. I mean, guys, walk into like a Yankee Candle or something. Oh my God, your eyes start watering, or Bed Bath & Beyond. They like to have those things right in the front of the store, and I walk in, I go, whoo, let me get out of here as fast as I can. I can't stand these smells. But you can get natural versions of these things so that you can still clean well. Hey, Beth, glad you could be here today. So to recap, we're talking about these chemicals in our indoor air. They make us gain weight, they disrupt our hormones, and they can lead to cancer. Anything you whiff, anything you absorb on your skin as you're cleaning without gloves, all of those things, if you can't eliminate it quickly in your urine or your bowel movements or your sweat, you start storing it up. As you store it up, it starts to disrupt these functions in your body. So A, we just want to get rid of as many of them as we can, substitute cleaner, non-toxic versions. But B, I'm going to tell you some ways you can actually clean your air. Okay, so we've talked about new carpet, paint, and new furniture. We've talked about non-stick pots and pans, household cleaners and laundry products, candles and air fresheners, gas stoves. Our next category where these chemicals come from is pesticides. Now, in the South, where I'm streaming from, we're buggy. Nobody wants to see bugs in their home. Ants can take over your dog's dish, and there's nothing creepier than turning on the light and seeing a roach scurrying away. So we don't want the bugs, but we also don't want those chemicals in our home. The pesticides have a unique property. They disrupt they not only disrupt your hormones, but they also stress your nervous system. So in my opinion, one of the reasons that we're seeing so much more ADD and ADHD, so much more anxiety, restless leg syndrome, all these neurological conditions that are increasing is we've used more pesticides around the home, used pesticides in the lawn. Kids can't play in a sport field, without pesticides. So don't get me started on that. But for the home use, boric acid and essential oils are great to handle bugs. And you can just go online and search what essential oils repel blah, blah. I personally love lavender because it gets rid of a whole bunch of different things. And for ants in particular, they follow a scent trail. So when you use an essential oil and you drip it on where the ants are going and you just wipe it up, they can't find the trail anymore. They can't find their way, into your home. So that works really well. All right, the last subject that will bring these toxins into your indoor air, the last category would be your personal care products. And that would be your shampoos, hairsprays, body lotions, body wash in the shower, those kinds of things. And the scents are some of the worst products. Again, Environmental Working Group, which I shared up above in the comments, you can go to their website and they have a huge database of personal care products. And Darlene says, bugs are bad. Bugs are bad. We don't want them, but we can repel them. And it's easier than you might think. I just moved into a place last year, and when I first moved in, I saw a few bugs and I thought, oh God. And so I just used cotton balls and put the recommended essential oils on them and put them around in different places. I've been here a year. I haven't seen another bug. So it's crazy. These things really, really work. Okay, so now we know where the bad stuff is coming from. What can we do about it? First of all, this is so simple, is you just open a few windows for a few minutes every day. You would be shocked at how much of this toxic indoor air you can just release out into the atmosphere. Just let your home air out a little bit. Like I mentioned, these modern construction, energy efficient homes, they don't allow for breathing and exchange of the air. And, if you open your windows for just a couple of minutes, it's not going to increase your air conditioning bill or your heating bill in the winter. Not like the old homes that just had these little drafts, coming in all the time and your air is escaping. This is just, 2 or 3 minutes a day. Just open a couple of windows and let it air out. That's really not a big deal. Number 2, I already talked a little bit about this, is just switching to safer products. So if you take a look at the categories we've talked about and you say, well, what can I find that's less toxic than that? Anything you cut out is going to be beneficial and help you. Now, this one I really thought was cool. Plants. Now, I know plants can help clean the air, but what I came across that I didn't know is NASA actually studied this. And if you will use 3 or 4 plants in each room, you will clean 87% of the toxins out of your air in 24 hours. Now, we're not talking, a dinky little plant, in a 2-inch pot. We're talking about a 6 to 8-inch pot, so a decent sized plant. But 3 or 4 per room, just depending on the size of the room. And you do that in each room of your home. And it was astounding to me how much that pulled the toxins out of the air. Thank goodness for these plants. Let's see. Yeah, everybody loves essential oils. It's so good. And essential oils are healthful for you. They fight viruses and bacteria, so they keep you healthier. It's a good thing to use. I would just, put a few drops in the Castile soap solution when I clean, and it just makes everything smell so good. It's really nice. So plants. Then the next thing is HEPA filters. Now, you want to get a true HEPA filter. A lot of vacuums and air filters will say HEPA type filter. That's not going to do the trick. If you get a true HEPA filter, it's going to take both from your vacuum and an air filter. It's going to take a lot of those toxins out of the air, because you guys, these toxins accumulate in dust. So dust, a lot of what dust is these toxins that have kind of, merged together and accumulated in the dust. So as we vacuum these things out, a lot of vacuum cleaners, you see those demonstrations where they vacuum a pile and it's just sort of blowing half of it back out in the air at the same time you're vacuuming it. You don't want that. But the HEPA will prevent that from happening, and it's really good. I bought an air filter, just an inexpensive one, for my home, and it really has made a big difference. Now, the last tip to keep these toxins out of your home and your indoor air is leaving your shoes at the door. Lots of cultures think it is just sacrilegious, really, to wear your shoes inside the house. Think of what you walk on. You've walked in bathrooms, you've walked across parking lots with oil, you've walked across lawns that have been sprayed with, weed killers and pesticides. And this stuff you track in the house. And when you track across a carpet, those pesticides that you may have walked across on the lawn, they can stay in that carpet for up to 6 months. Then your little kids or your dogs or you walk barefoot on the stuff and you get it in your body. So leaving your shoes at the door accomplishes a lot. And sometimes you just have to, I just set up a little area in my house. I got a nice little chair. I've got an area where the shoes can be left. It's a habit. And at first it just takes some practice, but once you get into the habit, it's really not that big of a deal. Angela says, we just added plants, but I think we need more. I'm with you, Angela. I'm going to be heading out to the store myself this weekend and getting a few more. And you can look online. There's certain plants that pull more pollution than others. But in this NASA study, it didn't make a difference. It was just the number of plants that you had. So you guys, I'm so happy you joined today. If you turn on notifications on your Facebook page, it'll let you know when the streams are happening. I try to do every Thursday at 12:30. The next 2 weeks, I'm going to be in a training program, so the time is going to be variable. I will stream, but I have no idea when I'm going to be able to, but it will happen. And then they're always saved on the Facebook page, so you can just bring it up later while you're getting ready in the morning or whatever, and listen then. So I love you guys. I really appreciate you joining, commenting, sharing, and I look forward to seeing you next time. All right. Have a good one. Bye.